LeValley, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for being a part of NFT.NYC, not just this year, but our last recent events. You've not only participated, but been a sponsor, put on the different networking events and things of that nature. And it's been really important to us, your voice. I remember in 2020, you said, you need more women. We need more women. And you were right. We wanted to have a more diverse, eclectic group of speakers and projects involved. And so I appreciate your voice in that way and the way that you've helped guide and steer our team at NFT.NYC. For those that don't know you, can you please introduce yourself and let folks know a bit about who you are and what you do at Mint Gold Dust?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be a part of the NFT NYC community. I think Jody and the team, Cameron, have really built a unique community gathering. I hate to call it a conference because it really doesn't feel like that. But yes, I'm Kelly LeValley Hunt. I'm the CEO and founder of Pearl River Venture Capital and Mint Gold Dust. Mint Gold Dust is an NFT platform. We're based in New York, and we have developers worldwide and artists, of course, worldwide as well.
And one thing that you were saying before we got started this morning is every NFT has a story, every story an artist, every artist a collector, every collector an NFT, on and on and on. And one of the things that you're focused on is helping the artist tell the story of the NFT. So can you share a bit about your thoughts on the stories behind art, why it's important to be shared, and how you've structured infrastructure on your platform so to facilitate the artist being able to do this well?
Yeah, we at Mint Gold Dust, we truly love to focus on the NFT. We love to focus on the story behind the NFT, the artist behind the NFT who created the NFT. There's, each artist is going through certain things, and that's why they create these pieces, these beautiful pieces. And we truly believe that there's a story behind the artist and then a story behind the collector that collects the artist's piece, or patrons. So what we've created at Mint Gold Dust is a space for that story to be told, and really to highlight a piece of history. I always refer back to the rare Pepes and on Counterparty, and I love the rare Pepes because they kind of tell a story of a specific moment in time. If you kind of zoom out to a timeline of our existence on Earth, this is a very unique. I mean, each piece of the timeline is very unique, and this is as unique as the Renaissance era, as unique as the medieval times. And I really want to capture that moment. And I was seeing in the early days of the platforms that we were really skipping that part of the story, skipping the artist story. It was really about creating these one of ones. And I wasn't able to get to know the artist unless I was at NFT NYC and I was standing right next to Josie Bellini. That's how I met her. And that's why I'm one of her collectors, for example. So I really wanted to capture the essence of who these artists are and what they've created, why they created it, and really the story behind the NFT, but also the story behind the artist. And then, of course, the story behind the collector and where that collector came from and why they decided that that artist was the artist that they were going to follow, and that piece was what they wanted to purchase and have as an asset within their wallet to display in their home, for example. So or to display anywhere, for example, in AR, like Illa Space is an amazing company that I invested in, and Illa Space geo drops these NFTs in AR and VR, and they create this storyline, like I call it art tourism. So you can go and you can find these NFTs. So at Mint Gold Dust, we want to really capture that story to really get a community involved in that one specific NFT. So yes, we truly believe that the NFT has a story, and the story has an artist that has created that NFT, and that artist has a collector, and that collector has NFTs, and then the community is built around that.
So you and I both have on our Twitter profile Josie Bellini's artwork as our avatar. So we both obviously love her. And folks that don't know her from her limited run NFT runs might know her from Cyber Brokers when she's working on with Chris and Ben. So for you as a collector of Josie's artwork, I think Josie does an amazing job telling stories around each and every piece. And it's passionate and it's persuasive and it's articulate. And for you and I, we've been motivated by her art. And so we've acquired her art and even shared it with the world. So when you think about you telling a story as a collector, what type of infrastructure is there right now for Mint Gold Dust in order for you to be part of the story? And what do you envision building so that collectors can tell stories about the art that they've invested their money into and invested their relational capital telling other people about?
Yeah, we at Mint Gold Dust, we have really taken the opportunity to build a platform for the collectors to tell their story. We work with collectors to display their work. We have, the companies that also that we've partnered with have worked with the collectors to be able to display their work in AR and VR. For example, we've curated some pieces. For example, at Art Basel, we curated a handful of artists to be geo-dropped with our partner Illa Space. And we like to cater to what the collector would like to do with their collection. And so I think that makes the collector really interested in what we're doing. And also being able to display or show or talk about what they've collected and why they've collected it, but also a little bit about themselves. These collectors have really interesting backgrounds, just like everybody. And I call the collectors the unique creators, because they're creating an environment. They're creating a beautiful portfolio of NFTs in their work. And I think that to me is just as much interesting about the community as the artist or the NFT itself. We've kind of lost our or let me just rephrase that. We've kind of not lost our value, but we've lost the focus on the NFT somehow. And in my opinion, when we create massive projects that don't have a collector base and an artist around it, a community around it, we kind of lose that story. And when we start to actually build up that story about the collectors that have collected these NFTs, then we start to really gain value. And the artist is even more highlighted than before. And if you can tell a story around the NFT, and if you can tell a story around the artist, you can most certainly tell the story around the collector and what the collector is curating in that unique creator position, that creator of that portfolio, which is also really something interesting for me. And I like to look at different collectors' portfolios to see, all the uniqueness that they've collected. I mean, mine is there's such a range, and I'm sure yours is. It's such a huge range of interests, from PFP projects to one-of-ones. That, anybody that sits down to talk to me about my collection, I have rare Pepes in my collection as well. And very funny rare Pepes that tell a story about a certain moment in time. And I think that is, where the true interest is, the true value, the humor, the characteristics of a collector and what they've collected is, that in itself tells a story.
So, one of the things that we've asked you to come speak about is investing and kind of, where were we and where are we now? And the thought of, as an investor, when you look at the market 5 years ago, 2017, compared to today, things have changed quite a bit. And one of the things that you are, besides just an investor in NFT projects or artwork, is just you're generally a blockchain and crypto investor. So do you want to share any insights and thoughts on where we're at today compared to the journey over the last 5 years from a blockchain crypto investor's perspective?
Yeah. Um, in the early days of my true 100% in the Web3 space in 2017, I jumped 100% in. I started working with one of the first blockchain as a service company called Block Apps, and who are doing amazing things today. And I truly believe that we create value on chain with smart contracts, and we interact and engage with these parties that we used to have to build up trust with. So I looked at projects when I jumped fully in. I looked at um, a platform as a service, or a blockchain as a service. And we coined the phrase at Block Apps, blockchain as a service, because we thought that we could go to market with that idea in mind. And it was really a utility. It was really an infrastructure, a must-have utility, must-have infrastructure in order for companies to engage and interact with one another. And now, fast forward, after Block App signed the first partnership agreement with blockchain as a service company with Microsoft, with AWS, with Google, with Red Hat. We did a long-term agreement with the UN, and this was all in 2017, early 2018. We built one of the first blockchain as a service for a multinational organization, six-figure deals with huge organizations for a blockchain as a service. And it was really that point where I really started to look at the technical aspect, the technical teams, engaging with the technical teams. I was at the Cosmos ICO, for example, and really looking at the technology as a service to an industry that has been stuck in Web 2. Fast forward now, I am really excited about what the expansion is of blockchain and blockchain as a service, and whether that be an NFT project or whether that be strictly infrastructure. For me, it's a broad horizon. So in the beginning, I invested in infrastructure organizations, things that we not necessarily got really excited about, but if we wanted to fall asleep, we would read about it. But these are necessary. It's kind of, we were building in 2017, we were laying the railroad tracks for the block train. We were creating that infrastructure in order to create commerce. And now I realize that there's so much, it's so much more interesting things out there. So I have a varied view of what is necessary and what is just fun to do. So now I'm working on Mint Gold Dust, which is an NFT platform with an 1155 token, not even a 721, which is very traditional for, if you can say traditional, for an NFT platform. And where we are fully decentralized, building an environment for creatives and collectors to transact on chain with no custodial to any art or to any funds. So we're strictly, even we're using IPFS. We are trying to be as decentralized as possible for the creatives and the collectors. So as much as I want to respect the infrastructure and stay true to investing in infrastructure, I also see the fun part of it now. So I like to, and I was one of the first investors in Super Rare, but it's because John and Charlie Crane used to work at Block Apps, and I knew that their technical skills were beyond what I had seen before, along with the team at Block Apps. The team at Block Apps also went on to form the company Foam, uh, which is an amazing company as well. So, I was really focused on investing in infrastructure, technical teams. And then I started buying into these NFTs because I kind of like them. They're kind of fun, but they're also on chain. So I saw the true value there. But then I started to lighten up a little bit and be like, okay, let's do something really, really fun and build infrastructure for the creative industry. And I think that and also invested in, an accounting company, accounting platform for crypto called Gilded Finance. I invested in then in ILS Space, which is, this AR VR geo dropping NFT company. I think Pokemon Go for NFTs, where they created a map where you can geo drop your NFT. So that to me is infrastructure, but it's fun. It's something fun. It's not necessarily doing trades on chain for, energy trading on chain, so I think that I've lightened up a little bit from 5 years ago, from what I saw was necessary and, to fund, to now. I also think that art and creation and creative on chain is also very necessary, but very, very fun.
Well, I think it's amazing the things that you've accomplished. It's what a great story for the last 5 years. I'm anticipating even more of an impact that you'll have over the next 5 years. For those that aren't familiar with Mint Gold Dust, go to mintgolddust.com. And certainly there's opportunities for you as a collector. And if you're a creator, then you should look into it as well, because the things that Kelly is working on are really for you, for the creators of NFTs, to be able to have a different atmosphere and environment to bring their art to the world and create community around it. Kelly, thank you for your involvement with NFT.NYC. I look forward to hearing you speak. I think many people do, and also just seeing you right there in Times Square, New York, June 20th through the 23rd. For those that watched our conversation, thank you so much for your attention, and we'll see you in New York.